great.
Let's kick this off. Congratulations on the record. Follow the Cipher, your debut album, of course, named after the band and everything. Tell me a little bit about the record and how it came together.
The first song was created back in 2014. It was meant to be a solo project from my side. So I had a bunch of auditioning with a lot of singers. So and Linda was the last person to audition for me, and this was in 2014. But she was so completely insane at singing, so we quickly she got the part. And shortly thereafter, we had the first sitting in the studio, and I tried to write the song that would fit her vocals. And then at that point, WinterFall was created. So that was the pure beginning for Follow the Cipher. And as of that point, we also decided, hey, let's create a band instead of this. It would be a really fun thing to do.
You mentioned WinterFall. That's a major song, and it's surprising that it's been out for nearly 4 years. It's been such a long grind to get this project together and turn it into an album, and well, you know it more than I do, so just talk a little bit about that. Talk about how the process of the last 4 years.
Yeah, it has been a developing process, for sure. WinterFall was the first song we wrote, and at that point we didn't know. I didn't know. At that time, I was considering the solo project, and I didn't know what I was going for. So it was an experiment and try out. So WinterFall was the experiment song to find where Linda's range were, her capacity and her voice. But after that, we kind of evolved the sound a little bit. But we still like WinterFall, and when we came to the conclusion now with the finishing of this album, the sound has changed a lot, and I think you can hear it on the album very much. There's a bunch of different styles in it. So, but I think it's cool. I was a little bit afraid at first that we had so many kind of genres in one album, but at the end, now I'm happy about it because it's cool to be able to be that wide in the music writing, and it's more fun for us.
I agree with you. It is cool to see the evolution of the band over the course of the time that you've been together, the 4 years. Whereas as fans, we get to see that evolution after subsequent records, 2 or 3 records in a row. Usually the evolution of a band is obvious, but this is all happening on a single record, and that is a cool thing to see and hear.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
So WinterFall was the first single that came out, and like I said, 4 years ago. You've done some since. I mean, The Rising came after that. You've been evolving. You've been sort of peeling this onion one at a time until this point where you've got the songs together, and it's all become one. You've been compared. Comparisons are cool for some people. You've been compared to bands like Sabaton. That should be obvious, right? Yeah, as well as I'm looking at my notes, forgive me, Nightwish and In Flames, another couple of bands that have popped up. Do you enjoy being compared to other bands, or is that something that you just want to say, we are ourselves, we are different than everybody?
Well, I don't have anything against people comparing us, but in our minds, we're not trying to sound like any other band. We're not trying to compare ourselves. We're trying to do what we're trying to pick all the good parts of every music we listen to, but that's the thing, because I like hardstyle, for example, and I'm trying to take a bit of the hardstyle elements with electronic stuff and put it into metal instead. Because if you listen to some of those genres, metal and some of the hardstyle stuff has the same kind of melody working. The difference about many melodies is just the way you represent the melodies and stuff like that. So I think I see a lot of things in common that way. And I also like the old In Flames stuff, the Gothenburg metal, and the At the Gate stuff, and we took that element to this as well. So we have tried to pick the best parts of every genre we could find and try to make a package out of it. So we're not trying to sound like Sabaton. We're not trying to sound like In Flames. So we're trying to put all of these ingredients to make it our stuff.
And I think you've been successful with that. I mean, you do have a unique sound as far as your guitar parts. Linda's voice, of course, has got a bit of an edge to it that's different than a lot of the other female singers. I think it comes across very much as your own sound. And I know that was your beginning thought, was I want to step out and just be something different. I think you've succeeded.
Cool. Thank you very much. And that makes me happy.
So I'm, again, reflecting on my notes here for a minute. Some of the songs you've written with Joakim before, with Sabaton. Carolus Rex is your current single. It just came out. Talk a little bit about that record and how you included it on the record on this album, and really how it all came together for Follow the Cipher.
Yeah, well, we were considering to do a cover. We discussed it a lot before the release and everything like that, but and we had some ideas, but actually Marcus from Nuclear Blast came up with that idea. But hey, why don't you do Carolus Rex? You've been a part writing it, so it would be awesome to see your take on it. And we thought, hey, that's a really great idea. Let's try it out. And we have a different kind of production than Sabaton does, so that was one part that could make it a little more different. And also, Linda's vocals is quite the opposite from Joakim's vocals. Both are aggressive, but in two kinds of ways. So, yeah, and also, yeah, it seemed like just a fitting and cool thing to do. So we went for it.
It was refreshing to see the differences in the record itself, as you've already pointed out. Somewhat surprising too. I mean, your take on it. I guess it's evolved over time, or maybe it's just a different perspective than how it came together in Sabaton. But it is a cool record on its own. I really like it.
Cool. Thank you very much.
So you've been out and doing some touring last year. You're at Masters of Rock. You've done a few things, which is remarkable given that you didn't have a great deal of material to support. The record wasn't out yet. What are the plans for this year now that you have an album in place?
Yeah, for this year we're doing. We have 2 shows booked, only 2 shows at this point, and we have let's see, a grass pop metal meeting in Belgium. A big festival, and it's going to be a kick-ass to play there. And also we got the Metal Fest open air in Czech Republic. So that's are the books right now. But we are right now checking on some touring and stuff like that. So we are checking about the possibilities for it. We're hoping to do some touring this fall.
Oh, that's exciting. I'm surprised you're waiting till fall. I mean, this record is, I think, great. The songs I've heard off of it, I'm very impressed with, and we are looking excited for you guys to come to America and get a chance to tour around this country a little bit as well.
That would be really cool. I like America. I've never been there, but I like the culture of the U.S. and North America and everything like that. So that would be a bit of a dream come true to go touring in the U.S. Yeah.
So talk a little bit about the writing process on the record itself. Are you putting the songs together yourself? Are you working with other band members? How is that all coming together?
We are 2 songwriters in the band, and it's me and the other guitar player, Victor. And we have decided to split the songwriting a little bit. So we have roughly written half of the album each, and 2 songs we came together to write. Valkyria, for example, we have written together, and also the song Starlight, where all the guest appearances were. So, and that was also a cool thing, because I come from a little bit softer world than Victor does. He comes from the gent stuff and the really hard stuff. And I like, I'm a Bon Jovi guy, for example. I like a bit softer music than he does. But I also like the hard stuff. But when it comes to the songwriting, it was quite interesting, because we could take some elements that Victor is really, really good at, and some elements that I can do quite well and try to put them together and do a cool mix of that. So, and that's the way we're going to work on the next album as well, I think. I think we're going to write a lot more together on the next album.
Well, the mixture of the melody lines that you're coming along with that edge, I think that's what adds the unique sound for Follow the Cipher. It sounds great, it really does.
Cool. I'm happy about that.
Let me get my notes here for a second. There was a question I wanted to ask, and I wanted to be specific about it. It was on Valkyria, and you mentioned the song already. I saw Victor made a comment that the song itself is about rebellion and uprising, the aggression. Where do you find that inspiration? I mean, he's obviously writing about a moment. And I know that when the stuff you did with Sabaton, they're all about a moment as well. They're picking moments in time in history. Where do you find your inspiration? Where do you develop your songs from?
I think I came up with the plan for the inspiration from the beginning, because I like the movie scene a lot. I like big movies. I like the goosebumps you get from different parts in huge Hollywood movies and stuff like that. I like it a lot, and I wanted to bring that sci-fi story to the music scene, and try to make also the music kind of what should I say? I like finding a lot of climaxes in the music and singing about the post-apocalyptic future, and with some degrees of seriousness, because it reflects a little bit what's happening to the world right now, all the wars and the environment goes to hell and everything like that. So it's a little bit of a peek towards the reality with a sci-fi touch, I think, and it's cool to write about.
You've mentioned the movies here. Your music is very dramatic. Is there any thought of doing any soundtrack work or anything like that?
I've done a lot of, not for anyone, but for my own. In my studio, I've done a lot of score music that is influenced from the... Hans Zimmer is a big inspiration for me. He has done so many huge things like Gladiator movie and the Pirates of the Caribbean, The Rock, and also a lot of great stuff. And he's a big inspiration source for me when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I've tried, and I think that will also be shown more on the next album, because on this album we focused very much on the electronic stuff and kept it that way. But I think we will keep the electronic parts on the next album and bring a lot more dramatic Hollywood score symphony as well to the next. That's the plan, and we'll see where we'll get. But
well, it sounds like you've already started writing.
I've tried some few short parts to see where we're heading, and it feels really good. I believe Victor has also written a few things to check out what we're going to do in the future, and now we're more inspired than ever, because it was a struggle finding our sound for Follow the Cipher. Now we know our sound. Now we know what we have to work with. We know our boundaries where we should stay within, even though we are quite open with the songwriting, with genre-wise. But it's going to be much easier to write the next album, and we started to check things out a little bit.
I'm surprised to hear you say that it was a struggle to find your sound for Follow the Cipher. I guess my envision was that you had a view in place or an idea in place that you were just sort of running toward, rather than discovering along the way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah. When I have a song idea, I sit in the studio and I try to go for that song idea. But afterwards, you can reflect about it. Well, what should I do different? Does it stand out now? And this song didn't stand out that much. What could I do to make it a little bit more interesting? And try it for the next thing. That didn't happen that much on this album. But because on this album, we pretty much took every song we wrote and packed it into this album. So, but it's hard to. Yeah.
Well, it's cool. We're looking forward to, obviously, this album is being released now. I mean, I want to see this thing blow up for you guys. It would be very cool to see you tour around a bit. As I said earlier, get a chance to come to America, North America, and see a little bit of this portion of the world as well. That's all the questions I have today. Is there anything I missed? Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Okay, yeah, well, it was really nice speaking to you either way, and I would really love to come to the US with Follow the Cipher and do a touring, as I said before, and I hope that happens in the near future.
We do as well. You have a good afternoon in Sweden, and thank you much. This article will be out in a few days, and I'll drop you a line, let you know that it's there.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Nice speaking to you.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thinking my lips was once a wall.